Boom.
Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTv with my co-host Jeremy Scipio
What's going on, people?
and the homeboy, the OG DJ BigWiz. You know what I'm saying?
What's happening? Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, all good, man. Wiz is a cool cat, man. Like we were just talking. I was trying to remember where I met Wiz, and my recollection was just a very cold night in Canada and me walking around the tour bus. And I remember that's when I first had a comical interaction with him. And then
and we're gonna leave that right there. But
yeah, no, of course, man. Of course.
That's funny.
I miss Wiz, but no, but I got more comedy than that. And I'm gonna kick the comedy off before we hop into the interview. So one of the last times I went out on the road with Wiz. We were in Paris. I want to say we did something. Well, we did a couple European shows.
London, yeah.
But it was the show in Paris, and David Blaine had popped up.
Yes.
And that was like the big deal. He had just like popped up out of nowhere, and he was backstage at the show, and so bringing Wiz out with us, Wiz got to see a whole bunch of bullshit on top of, on top of everything else. He definitely got to see his share of some bullshit, but he also got to understand that, at that time, one of my little highlights was getting real nice liquor. You know what I'm saying? So we'd be out, we'd have shows or whatever. I'd always, and then, Monty Brown, they really didn't drink too much like that or whatever. So it'd always be, a real cool bottle or whatever. So at this show, that we had in Paris, it was on was it a boat? It was,
yeah.
It was right.
It was a boat, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big old barge or something.
Yeah, on
like
that whole little river, they have a bunch of little barge boats that are double as venues.
Yeah, but they're big though. So they can hold probably about like 800 people, 900 people, something like that.
Yeah, when you're in them, it doesn't feel like a boat.
We had to go where we had to eat. We had to walk away. Like we had to walk away somewhere to go and eat. And it was real cold. I just remember it was just like really cold and really chilly. So I got everything together, and so the backstage area was like really small. It was like really small, and Wiz was just Wiz wasn't over the tour, but it was too small to really have people back there, and so people were kind of coming around and whatever, and Wiz was just like, oh man. So Wiz had left to go and get something to eat. So I never was really the practical joker or nothing like that, but Wiz had caught my attention because the glare that he had on this bottle of liquor for the night was just very hawk-eyed and sharp-like. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so Wiz went, he got something to eat. I had already went over there and got something to eat and whatnot. And it was kind of like we were going on, but we were there. We were already there, like maybe around midnight. We were probably going on about 2 a.m, and it was something that was going to go on kind of all night. So I wasn't going to walk back to the hotel. And so when Wiz had left, and you know what? I want to thank you, Wiz, because you really were the first person. Because you know what? We were in Japan when they did the Honey Jack, when they jumped off the Honey Jack thing. I had booked us for a show where they were promoting Honey Jack.
It's gonna be a theme. All our stories are gonna involve a lot of alcohol. So
this one is probably gonna wind it down a little bit, but I'm going somewhere with this. And so, Wiz never really got stirred up or nothing, but he was stirred up on this bottle of it was some kind of whiskey that they gave
Japanese whiskey. It was a really nice Japanese whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when Wiz went to go and eat, he came back, he started looking around and he's like, man, where's the bottle? Where's the bottle? And like Wiz, and it was kind of like, Dang, I ain't never seen him act like that about a bottle no more before or whatever. But I did ask Wiz to send me his address yesterday. And I asked for it again today because he didn't send it to me. But I'm gonna break down one of the coldest mysteries to you ever, man. I got the bottle, man.
You got the bottle, not the original bottle. You got the original bottle?
No, not the Japanese.
Okay.
From the one from France. No, I got the bottle from the one from France.
It's funny you remember that because I tell that story like from time to time. David Blaine will come up and we'll be talking about people. And I was like, yeah, I met that cat and talk about the whole story. And I always think about that whiskey. And I was joking around at the end of the night or telling people, you know, David Blaine came through and they're like, did he do any tricks? Like, nah, but he made a bottle of whiskey disappear. So I blame Blaine for that. I know he didn't do it well. Man, but yeah, this is from
that from that night.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yep. He got the flick.
Oh man.
Hey. So yeah. So now it wasn't that much of a mystery, and it wasn't that dope of a magic trick, man. It went into the merch bag, man, and you piqued my curiosity. But I will say this, man. I have graduated to being able to appreciate some nice Jack Daniel Blue Label, though. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. I never got some Gentleman Jack right now.
Oh, okay. So you still doing your thing. So anyway, man, I say that to say, man, I love this cat Wiz, man. He's been my roommate several times out on the road. You know what I'm saying? We done trains, planes, automobiles. You know what I'm saying? The whole nine. So with that saying, how were you introduced to hip hop?
Ooh, probably first introduction. It either had to be graffiti or b-boy, breakdancing. The first time I ever saw like real graffiti, like hip hop related graffiti, not just somebody tagging their name on a wall somewhere. Or I think the first time I saw b-boy, it was like somebody had a video of some really early rock steady stuff. And that was first introduction. So, you know, as far as like being aware, like, oh, wow, you know, other than music, I mean, yeah, I'll leave it there. So, I don't think, I was going to say music, you know, hearing a lot of stuff growing up that eventually became breaks and stuff people would sample, but that wasn't really hip hop. That was part of something that turned into hip hop. But as far as hip hop, it would be b-boy and graffiti.
How do you think hip hop has influenced the world?
Completely and thoroughly. If you look at the way companies market and advertise now, fashion, music, even the way people who aren't hip hop artists record and approach recording and will incorporate samples into their work, or how bands started incorporating DJs into the work. I don't think there's any aspect of the world that hip hop is not influencing or touching in some form or fashion. You got companies like McDonald's using hip hop for, you know, commercials and like I said, everything, fashion, everything. Hip hop is touching and influencing everything in some form of fashion.
Yeah, and real quick, and real quick, Wiz, how you were saying, you know, you can hear hip hop and everything. I'll tell you something real cold right now. I won't say on an FM station, but if you have Sirius radio or any type of satellite radio, if you stroll over to the local country station, it is very difficult to differentiate between popular hip hop music and country music. They got the trap beats and the cadences and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, damn, this is country music. I'm like,
I haven't heard any with trap, but I have heard some more recent country with some pretty banging beats in there, man. Like the beat will come on before they start singing. I'm like, oh, this is hot. And then they start singing. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So, everything.
Yeah. Even the cadences, you know, when they're speaking.
Yeah. But you got to think,
they're breaking it down.
Hip hop is money. It's big money, big business. Everybody wants a piece of it. So however they can incorporate it, let's use it to market. Let's use it to, you know, this is the hot new whatever look or fashion or sound or lingo or whatever. You know, people are taking what they can and what they can use and get out of it to get something else out of it, you know? So yeah, hip hop is touching everything.
Did you come with us to Guam?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Y'all have been everywhere together.
Oh yeah, nah, we
just naming random stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about him because I was like, man, I was thinking of, it's so funny how I can kind of remember as like a balancing point for me, my travels, food. And I remember that when we left Guam, I had hooked up some stuff in Japan. And did you came with us to Japan too, right?
Yeah.
Or you left after Guam?
No, I was
okay, yeah. And man, we straight had an El Torritos in the lobby of the restaurant of the hotel, man. Yeah. That shit was ridiculous, man. That shit was ridiculous. But anyway, man, I'll leave my stomach out of it right now, man. We not here.
Like I said, a lot of our stories, you know, it's gonna be based around where we ate and what we drank. So or some stuff we can't talk about either way, you know.
So yeah, man. Yeah, man. So what are your thoughts on when Nas said hip hop was dead?
I really didn't read up or look too much into what he was saying behind that, so I don't feel like I can really speak on it because I don't know what his viewpoint or his justification was.
What the context of it was.
Yeah. I don't think hip hop is dead, but again, I don't know his context of what he was saying. So, you know, depending on your point, I could agree with you or not agree with you. You know, I could see a point for saying hip hop as far as what initially was, as far as the culture and the four elements, is not dead, but it's going back underground. It's still there. You still have b-boy competitions, cats are nastier than ever. People doing graph, real MCs, real DJs. They just had a few weeks ago the USA DMC finalists competition, longest running DJ competition ever, go down, and this is a worldwide competition. So everything in hip hop is still there. It's just not as in your face anymore. You know, it was an underground thing. It was something we did, and it blew up, got big, and it kind of turned into something else. And the real, you know, pillars of hip hop kind of went back underground. They're still there, but they're not as in your face anymore. So hip hop, as far as what it was in its heyday, yeah, that's dead. But hip hop, just on a purest level, it still exists. It's just not in the forefront like it was.
Yeah, I was watching the drink champs when Nas was on, and they had asked him, you know, it was like, you know, they asked him all these legendary questions. You know, because that's what I love about drink champs, because you know everybody just get drunk and high and start spilling, start telling the truth. So he's like, so what did you mean by hip hop is dead? And he was like, you know, to be honest with you, I forgot. He was like, hey man, let's just have a good time, man. I ain't even
so you couldn't even back it up. I definitely can't speak on it.
Yeah. I just think at that time, I think it was like literally right before Soulja Boy hit the scene. And I think, you know, there was a frustrating that was going around all together where you know, a lot of the old school, I think the tone, it mellowed out and it kind of fused together, and a lot of the OGs are getting more respect. But around that time, guys weren't even considering what they were doing hip hop. I heard the word trap way more.
I still don't consider it hip hop.
Yeah. So, you know, now it's like I think it's at a good place, a good balance. You know, you hear, like, you know, because you hear people getting their proper respect all the time. So yeah.
I mean, it was birthed out of hip hop. It's like a bastard son of hip hop as far as I'm concerned, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like, oh, you bastard. But it's alive because hip hop was alive, but I don't consider trap and all that hip hop.
Side bass.
All these
rapping, but it's not hip hop.
Oh man, we got the trap boys in the comments about to come for you, man.
I recommend they get me somewhere outside of the house. They don't want to come here. So don't come here. Expect
come
to
the infantry.
Be the armory.
There's nothing good
live
for
in
you
Texas, so you know what I'm saying. So, yeah. But you know, something very interesting, man. You know, you know C minus?
Yeah, yeah.
So I had a conversation with C minus, and I always tell this story. You know, I don't really mention in my name, but I just saw him a couple weeks ago, so that's why he's on my mind. But Brown had a little. It was a something where I had C minus DJ at Brown's retail store, and you know, while one of the other DJs were on, and we were in the back and we were eating, you know, I went to C minus sincerely, and I was like, dude, you know, how do you listen? Because I want to say he was spinning on one of the radio stations, and then he was spinning for Be Real, and then he does parties and stuff like that too. And he you know, he has to be on top of like contemporary music.
Right.
And I was like, dude, you know, how do you listen to this stuff? And he was like, you know, it's easy. He's like, you're just listening to it wrong. And I was like, you know, I'm listening to it wrong. What do you mean? And he said, well, you know, the way that we used to listen to it, like in the late 80s and the 90s and maybe the 2000s, you know, you'd have a dope MC, dope beat, you know, dope lyrics, you know what I'm saying? You know, the full package. And he said, you know, now you'll find that you'll like the music if you listen for one of the three. So you might not get all of them the way that we're used to getting what we used to have, but you can find one thing. And he's like, he just finds the one thing that he likes, and then he kind of like hones into that. And then when I started listening to contemporary music like that, I was able to get some joy out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, it's a palatable way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it's like, man, if you're eating food with a whole bunch of sodium in it, man,
I was just thinking like that. Like, I don't eat mushrooms, so if there was a plate full of food with some mushrooms, I'm gonna pick the mushrooms out and eat the part I like, you know. So I guess that's like trap music. You throw away the parts you don't like and just listen to that. I like that kick drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trap guys though, they at this point they consider themselves hip hop. I really think the moment Nas said hip hop was dead, you had all these people coming to hip hop's defense. But before that, they weren't even using the word. I mean, like Jeezy started considering his stuff hip hop, and T.I. and all these guys who were like just so far removed from the concept of it. So, you know, I think it was all to the good at the end of the day. You know, Lil Wayne got I am hip hop tattoos and stuff. He wouldn't have got that if Nas wouldn't have said that. So
I mean, they're doing their thing. You know, I'm not knocking them for doing their thing. I'm just saying it's not. I don't think it's what hip hop is. You know, and they even call it trap. So it's easy to compartmentalize things and put it in a box and just say, oh, this is hip hop, this is hip hop, this is hip hop. But I don't think there's anything wrong with trap being its own thing. It is what it is, and if that's your thing, that's cool. You do that.
The South got social equity in its claim to hip hop, you know, to a degree. There was some dudes that was whatever, but it was land that was carved out that wasn't necessarily left to them, and then it was appropriated to them, and then they were given resources in order to thrive on that. Oh shoot, look at me, I'm going crazy, swinging my hands everywhere. But you know, there's me over here talking about this sacrilegious stuff. I better stop it for the night. Sipping on some dose, you know what I'm saying? Waving my hands around. So with that said, I know you probably say hip hop, but other than hip hop, what would you say your favorite genre of music is, Wiz?
Not really a genre of music, but still related hip hop. Just like original breakbeat type stuff we would sample to make hip hop. So that encompasses rock, jazz, gospel, funk, soul, everything. So yeah, just funky music, man. That, you know, like I said, everything from Billy Squier to Bob James to oh man, it's one group, I can't think of the name, but you know, anything funky. But as far as a genre, if I've had to pick an actual genre that I say I listen to more than anything else, probably either be reggae or jazz.
All right.
Yeah.
What's actual genre?
What's your favorite era of hip hop?
80s and 90s. Probably 80s, then 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite hip hop movie?
That's a tie between either Wild Style or Style Wars.
No Breaking?
I mean, that's after, you know, that's I mean, Beat Street Breaking.
I'm messing with you.
They were cool. But yeah, Style Wars and Beat Street, Style Wars and Wild Style. I think if you want to see like some good movies of just pure, real, non-Hollywood movie type hip hop, that's what it is. To me, Beat Street would be the Hollywood version of Wild Style. You know. And then if you want to talk about documentaries, there's a DJ turntablist documentary called Battle Sounds, which is really tight. A lot of people may be familiar with the DJ documentary called Scratch, which was really big. That kind of, I think, got birthed from Battle Sounds. So Battle Sounds would be the Wild Style to Scratch, which would be the Beat Street, you know, the more overproduced version.
Okay.
Of it. So yeah, it's a toss up between those.
You know, I really didn't understand I can say it, the significance that and I DJ, so it, you know, not like that, but I really didn't understand the significance of the DJ until we did this show in Hawaii. Matter of fact, it was the first time I met, maybe the first or second time I met De La. And Qbert was out there, and I saw Qbert kind of do what he does, and I just remember thinking, just like, there's levels to this, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like there is, you know, and it's crazy because, you know, I look back and, like, you know, we'll get into more of how Wiz and I met, but we both worked with this agency called the Agency Group back in the day, and one of the ways that we hooked up with the Agency Group, Brown had a relationship with them, and we ended up having the Executioners on one of our tours. And you know, me watching the Executioners do what they did, and this Executioner was it was Total Eclipse, Rock Raider, and Rob Swift. Yeah, it was those three. It was those three.
And then the cat that was on tour with them, who was like helping them set up everything and I guess manage roadie / everything, was DJ Precision, who's also part of the Executioners.
Oh, okay. I didn't even.
Incredible DJ in his own right. Yeah. Shout out to the X-Men. Rest in peace, Raider. Shout out to Rob and Total, still doing their things. Precision.
Yeah, and you know, it's so funny. I ran into Rob Swift in Paris, not Paris, it was France, years ago, and he was DJing for Dale. He was DJing for out of all people. No. He was DJing for Deltron. So,
okay.
Yeah, he was DJing for Deltron.
Nice.
And it was crazy because Rob Swift went from this like super DJ fanatic, baseball fanatic, to this workout fanatic, man.
Oh yeah. Brolic, man. DJ Brolic.
Yeah, I mean, and I was looking at him like, damn.
Rob swole up.
I'm like, what, you know, how did, when, how, you know, when did this happen? But it was good. It was good running into that cat, man. It was
Rob's a great guy, man. Great guy. Yeah. He's got his own DJ academy. Like, he teaches online. He teaches in different schools. He's great, man. If anybody's out there looking for DJ lessons or scratching, you know, type stuff, check out Rob Swift.
What city did you grow up in?
I grew up, I lived around a lot, different places, but mostly the majority of my life was either New York or Houston. So,
man,
that's both of those are home.
You over there following behind Premier?
I actually knew Premier back in the day before he was with Gangstar, before he was called DJ Premier.
Oh wow.
What was his original name?
Waxmaster C.
What? Oh my gosh.
He was with a group called he was in a crew called Inner Circle Posse. They were dope, man. He was killing it even back then. It's funny because the first time I saw him, they were opening up for EPMD. And I had met Premier before then, didn't know about their crew. And we're watching him in the crowd watching, and he comes on and he's cutting. And it was dope. But then I noticed something he did wasn't syncing up with what he was doing. I'm like, oh man, he's faking his cuts. Like, oh, this dude is whack. He can't scratch. Like he's faking it. He ain't doing that. And then I actually ran into a mutual acquaintance we had later on, and we were talking about it. And I mentioned that. They're like, no, he's dope. Like they had to do that because I don't know what the situation was at the show, but they had to run off of a backing track and this and that. So then I saw him live, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's oh man, he's a super cool cat. Like I still see him every couple of years, and he's great, super down to earth, like incredible dude, man.
You just dropped a gem on us. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, no, we're gonna get into Wiz's technical. We ain't even gotten to the little technical arena or whatnot. and it's so crazy because you know, and that's, you know what? When we got Mike Ram, I stopped going to Wiz because Wiz was my technical well, Ice Water was the first technical assistant, not assistant, but he was my technical cat that I would go to figure out everything. Because for whatever reason, after we got from Ice Water on up, every DJ the Pharcyde had was always like technically inclined into some area of technology that superseded hip hop, but coincided with hip hop. So that was so that was something. So when you were in a junior high school, middle school, what was the soundtrack going on to those years for you?
I mean, a lot of just funk stuff, Parliament Funkadelic. What else is out there? Stuff like SOS Band, Midnight Star, Anita Ward, Earth, Wind and Fire, Sugar Hill Gang, Curtis Blow, some of their early stuff, Christmas rapping, you know, all that. Hall and Oates, Thomas Dolby, Malcolm McLaren, bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, that's right about mine. Right about mine too, man. Yeah, some we got to enjoy MTV, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, even like Michael Jackson, the Jacksons were still doing stuff at that time. Peaches and Herb was out around that time. Kiss was still doing stuff. I mean, you know, it was a little bit of everything. So yeah. We remember MTV when they actually played music.
Yeah. What was the name of your first DJ crew?
First crew, we had a crew called the YBO crew, and then we had a crew called the Intimidators.
Okay.
So yeah.
What did YBO stand for?
Man, it stood for, it was one of those things, there wasn't one really definition. It stood for, it was initials from everybody, but it also had like so many different meanings. So yeah. And actually the other cats, the DJ started rapping. So that was the first like actual, not just DJ crew, but turned into like hip hop DJ, MC, you know, full on crew. So
yeah. Oh, okay. Nah, man, that's dope. That's dope. So Wiz, in high school, what did you think your senior year, what did you think your journey was going to be once you graduated?
I was going to be with hip hop group putting out records, touring around, performing. Yeah. I mean, that was it. So no surprises. Yeah. I mean, there were surprises. The stuff I'm sure we're going to get into with like Rain and on the industry side, stuff like that, was only a dream. You know, I never thought any of that would really happen. But yeah, just that's what I was doing in school. That's what my plans were to do, and that's kind of what happened in one way or another.
So question. So when like in my the DJs that were DJing when I was like in high school, you know, their whole thing was, okay, get you some techniques, get you some Sherwin Vegas. If you're lucky enough, get your parents, or they worked a little job to get a little Nissan truck or something like that. And then once they had the turntables, the Sherwin Vegas speakers, and a couple of records, they're like, man, it's how many weeks in the year? We could do how many parties? We could do how many weddings and da da da. But it was like maybe 5% of DJs actually could have the skill set to become the popular DJ that could make a little bit of money, like not enough to pay for the Nissan, not enough to pay for the Sherwin Vegas, not enough for the records, all that kind of stuff. With you, what made you want to DJ?
It's funny, man. I never wanted to get into this to do anything outside of just in my bedroom for me. Like it was something I wanted to do for me. I didn't start out wanting to DJ for a group, be on stage, do parties. It was just something I enjoyed doing. When I heard scratching for the first time, it just spoke to me as an instrument, man. Like I'd been in band and played other instruments, and just everybody in my family played instruments, but it never really clicked with me. The first time I heard scratching, it was just like a light bulb went off. Like that's it. Like it called to me. Like it was weird. Like I felt it. I wanted to do that. But I was mixing too. I wasn't just scratching, because back then, you mixed, you scratched, you did everything. And I was good enough to where I had fun. I thought I was good, to have fun for me and like what I did. I didn't want anybody to know I did it. I didn't talk about it. Nobody knew. I was in band and we used to get in trouble in school a lot. Anyway, I was in trouble, so I was kind of sitting off. I got sent to sit off in the auditorium by myself. And then this other cat named Reggie, who was a band, he got in trouble and he was sitting a few seats down from me. And I had a Walkman. I was listening to a tape I made at the house. He's like, "What are you listening to, man?" I was like, just, it's a little tape. I kept trying to blow it off, and he kept like, what, a tape of what? What is it? I finally told him, this tape I made, I was DJing. He's like, "Let me hear it." I didn't want him to hear it. I was embarrassed. Like I said, I never thought I was good like that. I let him hear it, and he loved it. He talked me into letting him borrow it. He copied it, passed tapes off to everybody in the school. I was like, "Oh man, you just blew my spot up." So he's the one that kind of really got me out there as far as like people knowing what I did and stuff like that. And then other people heard it. And I had a friend named Raul who was having a birthday party, and he wanted me to come DJ his birthday party, like at the house. And I was like, "Man, I'm not ready. Like, I don't think I'm good enough. That's not ever what I wanted to do. I'm didn't want to be in front of a bunch of people doing that." And was getting all the pressure from my friends. "Come on, man, come on, we'll rock with you." They talked me into doing it, and I'm glad they did for a few reasons. One, a few weeks later, he got in a car accident and died. So I'm glad I got to do that before he passed. But it was hot. We turned it out, man. It was dope seeing that I could control a crowd like that and make everybody move and happy. And we weren't asking for money. It was just something we were doing. And we were packing up, getting ready to leave. And it's like his folks, his aunts and uncles are there. Parents are talking to us, asking us about how long you've been doing this and this and that, telling us we were really good. And, I was like, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate it." And they hit us off with some money. And I was shocked. Like, what? Like, we can get, they're like, "Yeah, you're really good. You should do this. You can get paid for this." And, it was some nice money for back then, especially when we weren't even looking for that. And I was like, man, I can make money doing this. And that started kind of changing the shift. I was still reluctant about getting out there and doing it. And it was years before I even thought I was good. Like for the first few parties, I thought it was like a joke. I thought people would just like have me come do the parties, like to clown me, to like be the inside joke, like he's so bad, like look, But you keep doing party after party after party after party after party, people more hearing your name, it starts to be like, okay, there must be something here. Like I may not think I'm good, but everybody else does, so I'm gonna rock with that. If that's what they want to think and they're willing to give me money for it, hey, think what you want. Just keep the money coming in. So yeah. but yeah, it took a long time before I really thought I was actually good, and I still have issues with that. It's just I'm one of those people that's like a super perfectionist and my own worst critic. I can do something that sounds perfectly fine, but if it wasn't 100% exactly how I wanted it to sound, I think it was bad. But then if I go back and listen to it in retrospect, when I'm out of my head as far as what I was trying to think, that in that moment, it sounds perfectly fine. But you know, in the moment, I judge and criticize every little thing, like down to the most minute molecule. You know, so I'm a lot harder on myself than I should be with that. Yeah. But like I said, I just through time I learned that other people see value in this. So who am I to judge what they think? If they think it's good and worth paying money for, I'm gonna give them what they want.
Yeah. What was the Def Jux record label?
Def Jux was an indie hip hop crew out of New York, one of the biggest indie hip hop labels out there. I mean, at that time you had Def Jux on the East Coast, Rhyme Sayers in the Midwest, and oh man, on the West Coast it was, oh wow, I can't even think of the label's name right now, which is messed up because I was with a crew that was signed to them. But there was like 3 big indie hip hop labels, and Def Jux was like the big one on the East Coast. People may not be familiar with or know who LP is, but he's one of the guys from Run the Jewels, which are huge right now. I'm sure anybody watching has heard of Run the Jewels. LP is the producer and one of the rappers of Run the Jewels. He started Def Jux. They used to be on a label called Raucous, which was, you know, it was a big indie label. They had a lot of acts. L was from a crew called Company Flow, Co-Flow. And they did like incredible numbers on Raucous without any promotion, any radio hits. Like they blew up. So L started his own label, and Def Jux was huge. He had LP, Aesop Rock, Mr. Lift, Merce, C. Ray's Walls, Rob Sonic, Hanger 18, RJD2 was a DJ and producer, bunch of cats on there. SA Smash. So yeah, it was a big label, man. We did a lot of big things. So I started out as L's DJ right towards the end of the Fantastic Damage album, and we did some shows and stuff like that. And then he was off the road working on some new stuff, and that's right when Aesop's album Bazooka Tooth came out. The Ace was gonna hit the road, didn't have a DJ at the time. L was like, "Well, take Wiz out with me," and then Mr. Lift, who was his own artist, was out with Ace as kind of like his hype man and co-headline. So then I started rocking with Lift, and you know, the Walls went out, Hanger 18 and Rob Sonic, and I wound up kind of just being like the in-house DJ, the go-to guy for everybody on the label.
Yeah, I tell you, first time I heard of Def Jux, I'm a Talib Kweli fan.
Okay.
And it was a song called More or Less. I know he said more blacksmith and Def Jux, less Geffen, because the rest sucked. They got all messed up. And of course, I'm a fan of just about everybody who was on Raucous, like at one point. And I do know about Raucous. What happened? I think was Raucous a part of, or maybe it was Geffen. It was part of Interscope at one point, but then it dissolved or something like that, and then it split into their own.
It may have. I'm not sure who they partnered with or if they partnered with. So I'm sure they did. I think the cat that ran it or owned it, it was one of Rupert Murdoch's sons. So it had a lot of money behind him already. Yeah, you know. So actually told her. So
yeah, but then it dissolved into its own label.
Got the Def Jux hoodie on.
Okay. I see you repping. But yeah, you know, as a kid just growing up in hip hop, anytime I hear like a new phrase or something, I'm like, what? And I had to like study. I was a hip hop nerd, bro. I was a keyboard warrior back in the day. Oh, nice. That stood out to me. But yeah, that was a good question.
Yeah, I worked with.
So how was touring with Aesop? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Touring with Ace.
Yeah.
It was interesting, man. It was good overall. Like I said, Ace, when I started with him, it was him, myself, and Mr. Lift, and that turned into him, myself, and a cat named Metro, who was part of SA Smash. Another great. All these dudes are great dudes, man. The C Ray's Walls went out with this for a while. That's a whole nother podcast. And then it ended with me, Aesop, and Rob Sonic working together for a long time. And Rob was his own artist as well. He used to have a group called Sonic Some, and then went solo. And then the three of us rocked so much together. We were like, let's just form like a crew. So we had a crew called Hail Mary Mallon. It's actually on Rhymesayers. We did 2 albums together as a full crew. And then at the end of the second album, you know, that's where we kind of parted ways, or I parted ways. So
dude,
him and Rob are still rocking, you know, me and Rob are still cool.
I wasn't going to spend too much time on it, but I got to just share this story though, man. One of the most amazing moments I had in hip hop, and I didn't really think about that until tonight. A few minutes ago, actually.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you were part of that tour, but I want to say St. Louis had just opened up a House of Blues, and it was and they had a casino there. I want to say they had a casino there, maybe, and it might have been St. Louis. And I remember just really cold. It was really cold, and I was at the merch booth, and C. Ray's Walls was at his merch booth or whatever. So there was a girl who had came to his merch booth, and she had her girlfriend with her, like romantic girlfriend with her. And so long story short, man, I don't know if she threw his CD down or somebody spit or something happened or whatever. But oh man, the police came because C. Ray's was going off, and I think homegirl went to. Were you there with?
I don't know.
No,
I need more info than C. Ray's going on.
I
could be a lot of
That's
places.
funny.
Yeah, you done seen him arrested 1,000,000 times. You done seen him a whole bunch of 1,000,000 times. So anyway, the police came. And so when the police came, that fool C. Ray's Walls was laughing at him. And one had got his arm on one side, and one had got his arm on the other side. And C. Ray's is a short dude, man. He's not a big dude at all.
But he's solid. He's tough.
They couldn't cuff him.
Walls is a beast, man.
He got into this stance like this, dude, and they could not bend his hands behind him.
He was probably yelling at him too.
Of course. And they literally lifted him up with his arms out like this, and they carried him out the casino. And he ended up getting arrested, and he ended up catching up with us a couple days later or the next day or something on tour or whatnot. But I couldn't let that pass without sharing that little C. Ray Wall story, because it amazed me. Man. Dude, it amazed me because they could not arrest this dude. Well, they couldn't arrest him the conventional way of putting his hands behind his back. And it's
gonna take more than 2 casts to fold Walls up like that.
And he was laughing at him, dude. He was laughing, and I think that he was fortunate because they could have beat his ass, man. They could have pulled out the sticks and just did something horrible to that cat, you know. But I think maybe in a way they were as amazed as I was sitting there that them 2 police officers handcuffing, man.
I mean, I know they eventually got him, and they would have got him with the sticks, but they still would have been amazed. Like, them sticks wouldn't have done what they thought. Walls are tough.
How did you becoming a developer on your first? How did you become a developer on your first mixer?
So at the time in New York, we had there was this open turntable, actually the first original open turntable event called Table Turns. Shout out to Rocky and Sugar Cuts for that. It was real successful. They started branching off, doing other branches of it in Canada and different places throughout the states. And we wanted to start a magazine, a Table Turns magazine. So it was Sugar Cuts, one of the founders of Table Turns, myself, a cat named Peter Parker, who's a DJ, and my partner Mars One, my old partner, who's a DJ. The four of us were gonna work on this magazine. So there was a show in New York called the AES show. It's kind of like NAMM, like an audio engineer like show. So all these companies are there and have booths. We went there to solicit sponsorship for the magazine. So we're going around talking to all these mixer companies and sound companies, telling them what we're doing, like trying to get money for, you know, sponsors for the magazine, for ads and stuff. We were talking to Rain, and Rain was always, you know, Rain was really a signal processing company. They did stuff for like conference rooms and compressors and, you know, de-essers and all kinds of stuff like that. They had like a mixer or two, but they weren't a DJ company or a mixer company. They were a signal processing company that had a mixer. And the mixer was dope. It was in a lot of the big clubs all around the country, you know, other places in the world. And what was good about Rain is they were rock solid, man. The build quality was super durable. The sound quality was amazing. They were reliable, dependable. They were just great mixers. But for hip hop DJs, scratch DJs, turntablists, we couldn't really use them. You know, you got this 19-inch rack mount mixer with the crossfader way over here on one side. You got these knobs around the crossfader that get in your way if you're like, you know, trying to beat, juggle, or scratch. So we're talking to them, and they're like, "Hey, have you seen this mixer?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's cool, but you know, we got this magazine." And they're like, "Oh, that's cool, but you know, check out our new mixer." We're like, "Yeah, that's nice, but we got this magazine," and we just kept going in circles. And finally, we had to be like, "Look, man, like we're familiar with how good your stuff is, but it's basically useless for what we do. Like we're really trying to pitch this magazine to you, and you getting on board with this." And they were trying to pitch the mixer. So when we told them like their mixers aren't any good for what we do, they were like, "Well, what do you mean? Like we make the best stuff around." And we're like, "Yeah, we know, but this is what we do, and this is what we need." And they started hearing us, and they had no clue about that world or that part of DJing. And they were really interested in what we were saying. And they were like, "You know what? If you could design your perfect mixer, what would it be? What would it have on it? How would it, you know?" And we're all kind of like, "Well," and they're like, "Hold up. Don't answer now. Think about it. You know, here's some info. Get back to us in a couple of weeks." So we all went home, actually met up, went to Sugar Cut's crib. We're in the basement and just everybody parlaying and talking about like, we all had the most popular mixers out at the time. We, you know, between the four of us, we had the Technics mixer, we had the Vest X06, everything that was hot. So we knew what was good about them, what was bad about them, what we wish was different. And we just put our heads together and came up with the ultimate wish list of what we would want. My partner Mars was also a graphic design artist. So we actually designed, you know, to the dimensions, everything, how it should be laid out. We printed a whole like pamphlet to send them of what every feature was, why we needed to work like that, giving them examples of what we do so they could understand it, and sent that to them, and they loved it. And it actually wound up happening. Actually, let me see here. I'm going to try to switch screens here for a minute.
Oh, he got technology.
Oh, he's a tech guy.
This was so I don't have handy the original drawing we sent them for what the first mixer should be, but they looked at that, they did their revisions, and this is what they sent back to us. So this was their original idea off of our idea what the first mixer should have been. So I have this framed in my studio, but yeah, that's a shot of that. So that was for the TTM 54, the first mixer we ever did with Rain. And then they did a scaled down version of that called the 52. That mixer is no longer in production, but I also, when they got rid of that, they sent me this. So this was the tester unit for every one of the mixers, every one of the circuitry boards on that. had to go on this unit and get approved to make sure it was working before they would send it out. So anybody that ever had a Rane TTM 54 mixer ever, it went through this unit before it left the factory. And this is something they gave to me when they were done as well. So when they retired that mixer. So I have that up in the lab also.
Yeah, that's high tech. It's a little above our heads, I ain't gonna lie. He showed us the blueprint.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Nah, this is good because you know, not that I'm one of those call you when I need you type of cats, but yeah, man, I'm going to have to exercise my technology calls with Wiz and you know, and have him help me boost this Zoom into another level. You know what I'm saying?
This is my first Zoom call. I told you that. So I haven't Zoomed, I haven't Twitched, I haven't any of that. So
and you already got your logo in the corner.
Oh,
you got the perfect background.
I got 3 cameras set up right now. I can switch scenes. So we got the studio over here with the live, you know, with the turntables and everything set up going on.
Oh, and then, that's tight.
If I ever actually do anything and have guests, I'm not gonna have it set up here, but I just have the other camera, you know, got a little spot. We can have a guest over there talking, you know. So, you know,
this guy. Okay,
try to do my thing.
I need your help, bro.
Hey, well, G, you know, I'm one of those dudes. I like to be prepared. I want to go above and beyond. Like I want to, you know, when G said he wanted me to have me on the show, it's like I think it was last week initially, and I was gonna like fill in kind of last minute, and I'm like, well, I never Zoomed before, so I'll download Zoom. I'll download Zoom and figure it out. Like we'll make it happen.
It was greater. It was definitely greater later, man.
Yeah, I had a whole week, so you know.
Well, you ain't the only one. I got my tech room. I'll show you, you know, where all the technical stuff goes down. Boom. That's how you, you know, show you
the
other thing when I'm trying to show you, you know, the stuff I'm working on.
I was hoping I was going to see like a sequence wall in the background, you know,
I got you, bro. So this is where I have my guests. We have a changing room for our guests. Wow, right there. Where they go back there.
That's hot.
Change, get ready. And then I know you wonder like where the guests be at. You know what I mean? I'll just show you where the guests be at when I have guests here. They're gonna be right there. Right there
in the corner. You know what? My guests be.
They're gonna sit right there on my clothes.
That's good.
My jacket.
That's good.
Yeah. So
I was watching.
You're not the only one.
I was watching your bit about the sequence wall in the background earlier, so I was looking for that.
Oh, you saw that?
Oh yeah. Your first time performing in front of a stripper wall. So, yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, man, that really was. Yeah, I was like, you really gotta perform in front of this. I performed all over this globe, and that was the first time I was in front of a little grandma stripper curtain.
Hey, it was good, man. It worked. It gave you some new material.
Thank you, man.
It was good. Yeah. It was funny.
Man, so I'll tell you real quick. So I actually had fun with that set. But there's a part where it was weird. I was flirting with this older lady in the front row, and the crowd was loving it. But the video got messed up, and I really, really wish I could post it, but it was stupid, man. It was stupid.
Yeah, I think I saw one clip in it where you said something to her like, "Hey, cut that out or stop that," or you know. But then it didn't get back to it. I kept waiting for you to go back to her. So I guess that's where I got cut up.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
It says, how has Serato helped or hurt the DJ?
Ooh, Serato has given DJs who want to put the work in and be creative the tools to take their skills to the next level in a good way. It's hurt DJing by it's made it easy for anybody to buy a little $200, $250 controller and a laptop, which everybody has nowadays, and buy a hard drive full of music or videos from somebody online and go call themselves a DJ. It's also given them the same tools to not have to learn skills. So you have DJ controllers now that you can set a cue point on a sound and hold down a button and it'll scratch the sound for you. You have stuff that will automatically beat match and mix stuff for you. So you don't have to learn how to mix records together and keep tempos the same. Technology, speaking of cue points, you know, the cue point is basically you have a point in the song, you can set a cue point, hit a button, and jump to that point in the song instantly. We had to kind of know our records, know like this is about this many grooves into the record and be able to drop the needle on it, or actually put marks or stickers on our record that would guide the needle right to that point. There was a skill involved in it, and you had to practice and you had to study. You don't have to do any of that now. If you want to loop a song, if we had a song like Funky President by James Brown, where the first 4 to 8 measures are just like a really funky break and then the whole song comes in, and you wanted to extend that break for somebody to rap over, just for people to dance over, or to mix an acapella into and do a blend or something like that, you would need 3 turntables or maybe another person doing it with you. You would have to have 2 copies of the song and be able to backspin and drop it back onto one to extend that break. Now you can have 1 copy of the song. You can just put a loop on that one section you want to loop, and it'll just loop indefinitely. And you can throw an instrumental, an acapella in over that. You can mix another record in over it. You don't have to do the work. So you don't have to learn your skills. It basically does it for you. So I think that's how it's hurt DJing, because people don't have to practice. They don't have to learn. And if you're not doing that, you're not developing creativity or any kind of uniqueness to what you're doing. You're not really developing a craft to even be unique at your craft. So, but there are other people, you know, who are taking this technology and using it along with their skills to do things that you physically couldn't do without it. And those people are pushing the boundaries in a positive way. So it's a tool. It just depends on how you use it. Do you want to use it as a crutch instead of actually learning how to do your craft and using these tools to make you better? Or do you want to use it in lieu of actually learning how to do what you do? You know? So like if there was some app that you could just put in a word and it would create a joke for you around that word, you know, you could have people out there, I'm a comedian, and they put in a word, you know, sequins, and it gives them a joke to say. Whereas you get thrown into a situation, you see a sequence curtain behind you, and you create this funny ass bit out of it because you've trained your brain to see something and put the pieces together and make it funny and tell a story.
That thing you're talking about is called Instagram and Twitter. And and if you wanted to make an hour of material based upon stolen bits that were curated by literally the internet, you could have at it. People do it all the time. Like literally a comic, you watch a comic, and writers have been doing this for years, but you watch a comic on stage, crafting jokes, crafting their bits, they go, okay, great. And they run to the internet. And as long as you have your hashtag and stuff on it, you're the one making money off of it. So yeah, I feel you 1,000%.
It's a double-edged sword. Like I said, it could, in the right hands, it could be used as something that's going to push creativity and art forward. In the wrong hands, it's just something that's stale and stagnant and stops people from advancing whatever it is they're using the technology for.
So we have a chat where, you know, people chime in and stuff like that. I tend to hold out on the chat unless it's like something like really interesting and pivotal. We have Annie here that let's see.
What's up,
she says, how can we create positivity out of the Matrix drama rap? Old school had foundation from lessons into sound. Now we make noise instead of sound on the whole. Let's see, these are flagrant artists of real. And music is a beautiful sound shot. Okay. I guess what she's trying to say is how can you create positivity, positive out of, I guess, how far music has gone, you know, like you know, like how can we get back to
the positive is out there. It was like I was saying about hip hop earlier. It's still there in its pure art form, or the positiveness you're looking for out of music is still there. You're just gonna have to look harder for it now. Like back in the day, before, like, computers have changed the game, man. You can, if you have a laptop now, you can get pirated software you don't even have to pay for. You can produce your music, you can do all your graphics, produce your video, do all your marketing and social media. You can send your logo that you create or that you have somebody else create to a company that will print up shirts, cups, whatever, what kind of merch you want. You just need to type it all in your computer and you can do everything right there. Back in the day, you had to have enough talent to get signed by a record label. So the artists you heard back in the day, like you had to be good enough to get a deal. So you heard a lot more quality. People think artists' music was better back in the day. No, music is still as good as it is. You just had this much music then, and you have this much music now. So you still have the good stuff where people are artists and doing good music, but it's so easy for anybody to do it now that you're flooded with so much bullshit now that you have to sift through it more to find stuff you like and stuff that's actually good and stuff that's being created by people who are artistic and artists and not just somebody trying to make a quick buck out of something they think is popular. People make disposable music nowadays. They make music that's going to be hot for like a week or a month instead of stuff that's going to last the test of time. Like people are still rocking stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s now in their sets, and it's big and it gets big reactions if you drop it at the right time. But stuff that came out last year, people forgot about and is never going to get played again. Like people make disposable music now because they think it's something you can do to get popular or get fame on Instagram or think they're going to make a quick buck. They're not in it but for the artistic value of it or to be an artist. So like if you couldn't get popular from it, or if you couldn't get likes or views from it or make a quick dollar from it, half these people doing it wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
They're not doing it for the right or the pure reasons. They're doing it for a hustle reason.
Yeah.
So the good stuff, was it Annie, is looking for, it's still there. You just unfortunately have to look a lot harder for it.
She ended her statement with, "Children don't know true hip hop."
You're right. Most children, there are exceptions to the rule.
That's very dramatic. I ain't gonna lie.
On a whole, most don't. Yeah.
I do like before I go into this, I like to preface by saying anybody who watches this show knows that Nas is my favorite rapper. I don't mean to go on about Nas. It's just he tends to be relevant to whatever we're talking about.
Nas is dope. Great businessman. You know?
I mean, he's hanging in there. It's funny because of the whole 21 Savage and Nas conversation. I say it's interesting how it got rectified with them doing a record together. You know what I'm saying? So to answer the whole, how do we, was it first thing she said was, how can we use music to direct the future instead of infect it? Collaboration. I feel
stop supporting bad music. Unfollow all those people you follow that aren't making good music.
But I think it's a collaboration. You know what I'm saying? You brought up DJ Premier. Like I think everybody should have at least one DJ Premier track. If you can't work with DJ Premier, then maybe you shouldn't be doing hip hop. But at least one. You know what I'm saying? That's how you tie the old with the new.
Preem's done remixes for a lot of people, not just hip hop artists. He did a lot of Christina Aguilera's big stuff. He's worked with a lot of people, man. Preem is like one of the dopest producers of our time.
He's my favorite. That's why when you threw that little tidbit at me, I was like, what? I went and looking it up, like, what? Waxmaster C.
I got some cool stories with him, man. Yeah, I got some real good stories with Preem. And again, he's just one of the great. He's a great dude, man. I know a lot of guys before they blew up and became famous, and we used to rock pretty hard, and then fame changes some people, and I get that to a certain level, because people around you change. But there are certain people who don't change. But I've seen people who get big and change. Preem, it doesn't matter when I see him, he's always stops, takes time to talk. He's the same cat. Super cool dude. Yeah, it's always been the same. He is, my dealings with him, he's never changed. He's an awesome dude, guy, and an incredible DJ and producer.
What's the biggest myth about being a DJ?
It's either got to be that it's easy and anybody can do it, or you're gonna make a lot of money doing it. You know, yeah, you're gonna go buy that little $250 controller and a hard drive off somebody, and you're gonna get booked, and you're gonna be doing clubs and making money and getting all the girls, and it's gonna be super easy to do.
Yeah,
You know, it's
TMZ.
Yeah, everybody sees it and oh, I could do that. All right, go ahead. And then they try to get, you know, it's not what you know. Anybody that does something good is gonna make it look easy. Like if you see somebody who's a master of their craft and put in the 10,000 hours, they're gonna make it look easy. So you see that and it's like, oh man, that's easy. I could do that. And you jump on whatever it is, you know. Like you see a great comedian, somebody who's not even necessarily doing like a set routine, but somebody who can just improvise and just like the sequence curtain thing. You know, and turn it into something funny and make it look so effortless and funny. And you see that and it's like, oh man, I'm funny. I can get up there and just talk about stuff. Yeah. No, you can't. Like you think you can. And even if you're able to just like point out stuff in the moment and be humorous about it, when you get up on stage and you got a lot of people looking at you like, okay, make me laugh. Go ahead, funny man, say something funny, you know? Like you got a crowd looking at you now. You got the spotlight on you. That's a lot different. You know, you put somebody on a stage in front of people looking at them, waiting for something to happen. And a lot of people can't deal with that.
Man, Malcolm Gladwell, man, the 10,000 hour thing, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's more about. You know, people always do the whole, you know, what makes a great comedian. They'll give you all these different answers, man. The answer is really clear. It's just experience. Literally, the idea of the occupation being a stand-up comedian, it almost entails that you've been in almost every scenario, because that's exactly what this game will do to you. You know what I'm saying? You talk about rooftops, basements, churches, attics. I mean, you know, I've seen it all, man. I performed for damn near Klans members, police academy, prisons, to churches and seances. Last week I performed at a Scientology center. I kid you not. Wow. I was at a Scientology center.
I'm glad you were able to escape, man.
Man, the dude who was running it, he's like a huge fan of mine. His wife is not. Wow. His wife hates my guts, and he made it very clear. He gave me a free pass. He was like, "Look, I think you're an intelligent comedian. I think you're great. I think you're brilliant. Run." Oh man. He said, "We're gonna sell these people some packets, but you be get out." But yeah, man, I think you know, when people are going through these cycles of like, what's a comedian, and you know, just it's experience, man, experience. And I'll tell you, it hit me like a ton of bricks watching Tony Rock perform. Tony Rock's one of my comedy big brothers. I watched him, like somebody spilled the drink at a show, and his reaction to it. I'm not gonna lie. I seen his reaction. Like he killed for 10 minutes straight off of that drink hitting the ground, right? But I seen it happen again, and he did the same like response.
Right.
But then he killed for like damn near half hour off the same thing. Then it hit me. I was like, how many times has a drink failed during his comedy show? You know what I mean? That's how you knew what to say. It's kind of like when you get into an argument and you're like,
right.
You're like, I should have said that. Yeah. I should have said that. Yeah. You know, that's what I feel like makes a good comedian or a good artist in general. Is like, I've seen this before. I know how I'm gonna approach it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Because I mean, the first time it happens, he may make a joke, it may hit. Second time, he runs that same joke, thinks it's something else, and every time you're using what worked before and what didn't work before, and it's building and could eventually turn into a whole bit.
He killed for a half hour off of something as simple as a drink hitting the ground. Wow. So you know what I'm saying? Like that's 10,000. That's what 10,000 hours do. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Yeah. Anybody that masters their craft like that, man, whether it's music, comedy, boxing, whatever. Once you've seen something enough, you know how to counter it.
All right.
Yeah. You got that ability to kind of freestyle in the moment, you know, like you may have a plan, but if something doesn't fall into that plan, you're able to still work around it and keep it moving.
At that, man, like I will not be defeated. I will, you know, I'm ready for everything, you know. Let's kind of be like water, Bruce Lee.
Oh
so
yeah,
many quotables.
definitely. Learn from everything, you know. Even a bad experience is a learning experience, you know. So you can take a positive out of it, you know. Learn what not to do, and it turns into it's a good thing. It's a lesson, you know.
Nah, for sure. So with that being said, I'm gonna skip up a little bit to a part of the podcast where I knew somebody who got their social media account taken from them. You know, they got hustled. You know what I'm saying? And so with you spending some time in Texas, spending some time in New York, what is the craziest hustle you ever seen run on somebody, or the craziest hustle that got ran on you?
The Monkey Hustle Chronicles.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
keeps up.
Oh yeah. I do a little homework. Not so much a hustle like being involved in a hustle like a identity scam or something like that, or even the VCR bricks hustle, you know, camcorder hustle. That was a big New York thing. Yeah, that's a nice camcorder. This was probably the one that really is significant in my life because it opened up my brain and my thinking to a whole different level. So it wasn't, like I said, a hustle that I was involved in directly, like I was an active part of it, but it was a hustle that got ran, and I was a victim of it. I was little kid, young little kid, and it must have been summertime. You know, we're out running around, but you know, I'm an old ass. We didn't have video games and cell phones. You're outside playing, riding your bike, running around the neighborhood with kids, you know. So I'm out playing. It's time to go in, have some lunch. Mom made a sandwich or whatever. We got a guest in the house. So so I go inside to eat my sandwich and lock my bike up, you know, to this pole by the porch. And I come back out. It's middle of the day, broad daylight, middle of the day. I come back out, and I wasn't in there long. I'm a little kid. I'm trying to scarf down my sandwich, run outside, and go play. I go outside, and the only part of my bike that was left was the piece I locked up to the pole. Like the handlebars were gone, the wheels were gone, the seat was gone. Like, and my initial reaction, like, you want to be sad, like, oh, you know, I lost my bike, but I was so intrigued by like the thought process. I'm thinking like, I locked my bike up, it's safe. I'm like, damn, this dude thought outside the box. He's like, well, the wheels ain't locked up, seat ain't locked up, handlebars ain't locked up.
Hey, 10,000 hours.
I'm gonna get what I can get. And I was just so enlightened by that I couldn't even be sad. I was just like, wow, like a whole part of my brain just opened up that wasn't active. So that was like a big hustle that really opened my eyes to think bigger and think differently and think like, this is how everybody else thinks. I'm gonna go a few steps further. You know, and that's translated to just my life in general. Like I said, when we were talking about the Zoom calls and all the, you know, camera stuff and the logos or graphics. I mean, like, if I do something like, okay, this is what everybody's doing, what can I do? How can I make this extra? You know, like, oh, this bike's locked up, I want to steal it. Well, I can steal the tires, I can steal the seat, I can steal the handlebars. You know, that was a good one. Another one, and I've been involved on one end or another of some actual hustles. I really can't get into some of that, but another one that opened up my eyes kind of in a similar way is just to like kind of think further than what's in front of you. My pops actually hustled me in a way, and I was still like a young dude, and my mom was in the hospital for something, and I was too young to be able to go see her. Like they wouldn't let me in the hospital. Somebody knew somebody, and they had snuck me in to see her. And my pops was like super strict. He's follow the rules, you know, kind of dude. He didn't know about it. He wasn't supposed to know about it. So I was able to go see my mom. A few days later, he said something to me about it. So how was the visit with your mom or something like that? And I was like, oh shit. Like, and I think I said, like, how'd you know? Like, who told you? And he said, you just did. And I was like, oh shit. He just got me to tell him myself. Like, he didn't know. He just suspected. And he was like, and I was like, oh, who told you? He's like, well, you just confirmed it. You know, I was like, oh man, he got me. He set me up.
Played you.
So yeah, that was another one that's like, okay, you know, it's like chess. You gotta think like moves ahead, man. Like I was playing checkers. These cats that took my bike and my pops, they were playing chess. So I look at that as a hustle that opened up my eyes and helped me like think better, you know. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna go with that.
That's funny. Yeah, monkey hustles.
Yeah.
I know when I used to I mean it's real simple. I wouldn't even say it's a big deal, but when you was talking about the VCRs or whatever, I used to I remember I had bought some And1 shoes and it used to come with a cassette tape or not a cassette
like a mixtape.
VHS tape.
Yeah, VHS tape, basically. And yeah, you know, that's something I learned early is how to record tapes and stuff like that. So in between that and the Smack DVDs or whatever, I used to burn the Smack DVDs. I used to take the VHS tapes from the And1s and copy them, just hand them around and sell them at school. Like that was just like a simple. That was a little innocent one, but you know what I mean. I mean, that's what split my mind to hustling because once I even thought to do that, like I just record TV shows. But once I realized people like that stuff, because I'll be honest, I didn't even watch it. I just was like
I know you want it. I got it.
People was talking about that all the time, man. Like what? Like dudes mixing up and doing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, I got it, and I was thinking like, well, I don't want to give up mine. So you know, once I had the master copy, I would just hand it out. Because truth be told, nobody was buying And1 shoes but me. That was the big gotcha.
Yeah. Everybody wanted the mixtapes, man. Everybody wanted the videos. They wanted to buy the shoes, man. Yeah. Yo. I still got a couple of pair of like And1 shorts and stuff like that. But I never had the shoes. But yeah, the videos, the tapes, man.
Tell you,
I still follow the professor online, man. He's dope. He's still doing this thing. Yeah, I may or may not have been involved in some acquiring stuff and selling at hustles. So.
Okay. Yo, you be dropping gems. You go. I'm trying to be like your pops. Like, I didn't know DJ Premier used to steal records from a shop.
Yeah, Premier didn't, but well. Next question.
Well, what's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Oh, I mean, to sum it all up, basically just be real, be you, be accountable for who you are. But I guess also something that really stuck with me, and the best piece of advice I could give anybody overall ever is the only place you're going to always find a helping hand is at the end of your own arm. Like you're the only person that's going to always be there for you, period.
Write that one down.
Like, yeah. There could be people who rock with you, who love you, who will do anything for you, but their tomorrow's not promised. Like the only person that's going to be with you from beginning to the end is you. So if you need something done, you're the only person you can always count on, period.
Low key, could you say that again?
The only place you're gonna always find a helping hand is at the end of your own arm.
Ooh, boy. All right, I'll give you credit.
That's a quote I put together based on information and lessons I've learned from a lot of people around me. So it's my quote, but the inspiration is from a lot of other people who I can't take credit for. That's just what I took away from it.
That's real deep. I'm like, sheesh. Yeah. Oh, and who would play you in a biopic? Oh, sorry. Well, what would be the name of your biopic, and who would play you?
Man, that's a tough one. Going back to me being that cat that overanalyzes and perfectionist. it would take me a while to figure out a title, but it would have something to do. It would be something like I Did It My Way, or do you know, Believe in You, or something of following your own path, your own way. You know, I think people need to have their set of, and whatever it is, their set of ethics, morals, values, being real, true to themselves, and follow that and stand on that. So the title would be something along that lines. Like I've done a lot of things I wish I could have done a different way or done better, but I've always hustled and done my thing, and it's hard to complain, man. Like, I'm not one of those what if guys. I don't believe in what if. Like, cause yeah, I could have done something different, but maybe that would have changed the trajectory of my path and it wouldn't have been what it was. You know, there's been a lot of good things that have happened to me, and a lot of things that, you know, I feel like I got shortchanged on, but who's to say if I would have done one thing differently, it would have been better. It may have been worse because of that one thing set different things in motion. So yeah, it would have been something like just, I did it my way. You know,
I got the perfect title for you, believe it or not.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Okay,
here it goes. Only place you're gonna find a helping hand is at the end of your own arm. That's the movie
I like
title.
it. I like it. I like
you gotta say the whole thing. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. We could try to make some kind of weird acronym, but it'd be like,
it's like, don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah, to society on crack.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I get Damon Wayans to produce it. I don't know who would play me. Yeah, I don't know, man. Not just not Michael Rappaport. So that's
he gonna try to play you though.
He's gonna try to play me now. I don't know, man. Jason Statham, he'd have to put on a lot more weight though, but you know, or maybe Idris Elba. He's dope. He DJs, you know. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Interpolation.
Okay. That's like that dude that played RZA on the Wu-Tang.
Right.
I can see it though.
No, I can't wait to season 3 though, man. Yeah, that's a dope.
I like that show.
We got Hulu just for that.
Yeah. I think that's definitely worth it. What's his name? Dave. He's playing Method Man. That's got to be the best. Character. That's really good.
Oh yeah. That's a cool documentary, man. There was a couple of scenes though, like being a DJ. There was one where RZA was, when they went down south and he was rocking that house party. And I was looking at the guy. I don't remember if it was the Needles or what it was, but I was like, nah, those shits weren't out yet. Like that timeline, like that mixing didn't exist then. Like they got that wrong. Or he would have
was that where he was robbing the place, the one he stole? That one?
That was no, he was doing the house party, and homegirl's boyfriend came in there and they had the beef for the first time in the house.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it was some scene, some piece of equipment. I was like, nah, that's bullshit.
This
is
not
about 5 years
accurate.
later. Yeah. So I'm watching it like that. Or it'd be an episode where they were it was one of the episodes, they were still in Brooklyn and they were recording or rocking the Method Man beat, the METHOD man.
Yeah.
And then there was a scene, he had like a record crate and a record pulled up in the back, and it was Hall & Oates, Method of Modern Love. And it was just in the background.
Yeah.
But that was not a direct sample, but that was where they got that from. Because the Hall & Oates joint, the Method of Modern Love, the whole hook was like METHODOFLOVE.
Really?
METHOD, man. MET. And he just had that record like popped up in the crate in the background, but they were showcasing that song in the episodes. I'm like, oh man, they got all kind of cool little Easter eggs like throughout the whole. Like if you really know and watch, yeah, they littered it with Easter eggs, man. It's cool.
You be dropping gems, man. Like I never knew that. Seriously.
Yeah. So it's dope. It's dope. Like so now once I started spotting that stuff, I'm watching it now like, oh man, I'm rewinding, like looking at everything in the background and trying to, you know, see if there's something hidden back there.
Nah, with that being said, man, I'm gonna hit you with the last one, Wiz. So how do you see social progression going the next 2 years based off of what you've seen with the Rona and the shutdowns and the lock-ins and the greater disconnect with human, interaction and all that kind of stuff.
Man, I think it's gonna go to one extreme or another. I don't know where it's gonna. It's either gonna go to everybody becoming more recluse and less actual interaction and more socially interactive. Everybody locked up in their houses, just relating to people online. Or people are gonna get so tired of that because of the restrictions we've had that it's just everybody's gonna rebel against that and go out more and just go ham on just being out. Maybe cats will quit. I think it's gonna go more the internet way, because you already got dating apps. People are meeting people online. People are interacting online. People are, kids who are young adults now grew up in the era of the laptop and the cell phone, and that's what they know. I kind of hope people will get tired of that and want to go out and just have actual interactions with people again. But it's going to go further in one direction. I don't know which direction, but if I had to put my money down, it would be on people going more to online internet, less personal, aspects of stuff, which, I don't think is a good thing. I think people need to be out there interacting more. Not completely. I mean, the internet has its place. Technology definitely has its place, but it needs to be, it's kind of like going back to the Serato thing. It needs to be a tool that you use in conjunction with everything else, with actual knowing how to interact with people in real life and deal with people in real life and have real interactions and situations and experiences. I was watching, I don't know who it was or what it was. Somebody just talking about like how people talk to you. Like cats that grew up in the internet area, like your keyboard warriors, you're safe behind the keyboard and you talk to somebody crazy and then they go out in public and talk to the wrong person that way in real life and get smacked. And you never been smacked before. It's like, you don't know how to talk to people, man. You need to get out there and have real interactions and quality engagements with people, and develop that social skill, along with being able to do all the computer stuff. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more balance, but I don't put my money on that. It's going to go hard one way or the other.
Dope. Well, no, man, good looking out, Wiz, man. I'm glad that you was able to tap in, man. It was a great conversation. We definitely could have went deeper into a couple things, but
hey, that's what part 2 is for.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
we gave them the light version. If they want to check you out on social media, where can they go?
Facebook, Twitter, IG, everything's DJ BigWiz, all one word, DJ BIGWIZ. Yeah, I'm easy to find, man.
Tight. And Jeremy, you got anything coming up?
Hey, no matter what I got coming up, the only thing that's important is Jeremy Scipio in Memphis, Tennessee at was it Growlers, January 13th through the 15th. That's the only thing that's important. If you want me to keep doing comedy, come to that show. If that show doesn't have people at it, I'm quitting comedy.
All right.
I will bring all the sequin curtains you need. Just make sure. Memphis, Tennessee, Growlers. Send your relatives. Anybody you know. That's it.
Dope. Nice. Well, no, man. With that being said, this has been another episode of Splendid Radio on PharcydeTv. Once again, thank you, BigWiz.
Anytime,
man. You, Jeremy, for coming in and doing your thing.
Of course.
And I'll check